All right, everybody, what are we going to be talking about today? So I'm sure you saw it in the thumbnail and in the title. What are we talking about today? We're talking about these magazine gap fillers, extenders, whatever you want to call them, that allow you to use a Glock 19 mag with a Glock 26 without just having a weird, kind of stupid looking gap there, right? So these ones are 3D printed, and I got them from a seller on eBay. The seller is Penny, like the coin, penny.saving. So if you want to check those out, I recommend that seller, and I'll tell you why. So you can see, obviously, on the back here, it kind of has the texture just like the Glocks, and on the front, it's not exact, right? But he gave it a good shot. At least I'm assuming it's a he. I could be completely wrong. And it gives you that nice full grip. This has been safety checked. Nothing in there, right? So the reason why I wanted to make this video is the seller's a good seller, and I'm going to tell you why as well. So this is one of the kind of newer-ish, not the newest, but it has the cutouts here for both left or right handed release, right? Easy. That fits in, no problem. What I ran into is that I have an older generation Glock magazine that has only a single side, right? So let's try that one out. So we're going to pull this off of here, and they fit on there nice and snug like they should. You don't want them falling around and falling off, whatever. All right, so here's the older style mag that only has one mag release, right? Oops. Don't try not to drop your firearms when you're doing videos. But here's the problem I ran into. These magazines, and I didn't even know this until this point, these are just a little bit shorter, anywhere from 1.5 to 2 millimeters difference in length between the newer ones that have the 2 and where this one is located, right? So that kind of sucked. I didn't know what was going on at first. I thought maybe, the seller was just not making a good product. So I reached out to the seller and I said, hey, look, I've got this one magazine and these won't fit with it, right? So what I wound up doing, which he told me not to do, to be fair, was I just modified by taking this. I took my Dremel and then I took it to my bench grinder initially, and I ground it down. And then I had to get my Dremel in some of these small areas, and that's all super glue to fill and then harden it back up, because this is area that's not completely filled in solid. It has gaps in it, right? So you don't want it to further degrade or fall apart. So I put the glue in there. So then when I did that, boom, put it into the Glock, boom, right? It fits. Doesn't look ideal, whatever. So I reached back to the seller and I told him what I did, and I showed him what I did. He said, oh, don't do that. He said, I'll just make you a new one, right? So what he wound up doing was I gave him my measurements, and I said it'll probably be 1.5 to 2 millimeters shorter. So this one is about 1.5 millimeters shorter than the other one. So he was nice enough to send me this one for free because I helped him develop this new product. Boom, and it fits, right? So that is super cool. Very cool of the seller. Again, penny.saving is the seller's name on eBay. So the other thing that I have, and you guys have seen this in one of my other videos, is the 1926, which of course, like I said at the time, I did not have an actual 26 to measure from. So all I had was the magazine, which was, of course, the same thing with the 26 mags. These mags for the 26 that have the single slot, these are shorter, or at least this section is shorter, right, than the newer ones with the ambidextrous. So I cut it to I actually had the longer one at the time, so I cut it to the longer one, so you can see this does not fit in there. And I could go back and I could trim it back or whatever, but I only have, I think, 2 of these, and I don't really use the 26 length mag very much. So I can use this one that I modified in here in the 26L, 1926, whatever you want to call it. And yes, there's a gap there and it looks kind of dumb, but from a function standpoint, it functions great, right? So it works fine. Then we'll go back to the other one. Let me put the other one back on here. This is the, so he's calling it Gen 1, just the earlier mags, and this is one of the later mags, so you'll be able to see the gap. So it's still not terrible, right? But that little gap right there will allow you to use the earlier magazines versus the later magazines. And I don't know about the X grip because I haven't bought one. I would assume they probably made it to fit both. And if they did, then you're going to be stuck kind of with that bigger gap no matter what for the older magazines, right? But this person, seller, has both options now. Well, I don't know if he posted them up yet, but he's definitely going to here pretty soon. Again, penny.saving. Just wanted to show you guys that there are some good sellers out there that have the ability to make changes on the fly. You know, they're creative, etc., etc. Because beforehand, I reached out to a couple of different sellers as a result of having this 1926, and I wanted to get a very specific magazine gap filler, whatever, for this particular gun, but nobody really seemed to want to do that. So I might contact this seller and see if they want to make something specifically for this one. And I'm going to link this review, or at least tell people about this review on the seller's feedback. And this one is as well safety checked. I don't know if I showed you guys earlier, but anyway, if you want to use 19 length magazines in a Glock 26 and you don't want to spend a fortune doing it, these are some good options, and they're nice and grippy. The texture actually is a little bit more grippy than the factory Glock texture, which is kind of nice because that helps you get a good grip and helps mitigate recoil, etc., etc. So very, very cool. I'm going to probably try a couple of different ones out, but these ones fill the need and function just fine. Whether they'll hold up, I don't know, because I don't know much about the 3D printed stuff. I've heard that if you heat it up too hot, it might just melt or deform, so there's that left to be seen. But anyways, guys, big thumbs up for penny.saving on eBay. Go check out the store. Check these magazine fillers out. It'll be a good way to adapt your Glock 26 to be able to use 19 length magazines. Feels good in the hand. I wear a size large glove just for reference, so those of you with bigger hands, obviously it's going to be a little different, and same goes for those of you with smaller hands. But you can see it's got pretty much all of my hand on there. Good grip for the pinky, you know, just barely a little bit sticking out there on the bottom. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you as always. If you like my content, please like, comment. I love talking to you guys, and share and subscribe. Thank you.